I think for me, Amanda, the particular focus on this 50-year period, 2000 to 2050, I've heard over the years, yes, we've got to take action, but I think for the first time, for a non-technically trained person like me, I could understand that in that 50-year period we're allowed to emit around about 1,000 billion tonnes of CO2, and if we do that, temperature shouldn't rise by more than 2%. And yet in the first 13 years of that period, we've already consumed 40% of that allowance and increasing. So I think for the first time I could actually understand, yep, there's a real urgency about this. It's not impossible. One shouldn't be dispirited about it because there's more than ample science and technology and business to assist. But the global community really does now need to be quite intentional about saying, yes, we can do this and do it. You know, without unbiased, non-flamboyant science reports, we don't go. We don't progress as a civilization. And I think, you know, this report obviously builds on so much other work that has been done over the years. And the pleasing news for me is that CSIRO not so long ago conducted some research amongst Australians as a whole, and you know, less than 10% of Australians really doubt the science, are what one might call sceptical about this. And so we've moved on from that issue to just, I think, certainly as a national community, just wondering, can we do it? What's required? What will be the cost? What will be the imposition on our daily lives? And I'm not saying that's not a big challenge, it is, but at least I would like to think that our scientists are getting a fair go in relation to what they're doing. You know, the terrific report that was handed down today is still just the tip of a very complex scientific discipline. I mean, I don't need to be a climate scientist to know that, and it won't surprise me if what was released today won't be the subject of considerable refinement, deeper analysis, more complex computer models as time goes on. But for me, the basic data that was released today, as I said, was not confronting or different to what I would have expected. It was somewhat confirming, but I'll certainly be looking forward to more research as time goes on. You know, that's a big challenge for a nation like Australia because obviously we have very substantial coal reserves. What it says to me as an Australian is that clearly it ought to be a national priority to invest seriously in R&D to ensure that we can still extract a certain amount of coal out of the ground, but perhaps consume it, burn it in a different way in the future so that carbon capture becomes much more realistic. I know that there's no silver bullet, and I'm not trying to say something from a position of naivety, but the reality is for Australia, coal is an important industry and there will be a need to try and do things differently in the future than in the past. I don't think professional investors will be particularly surprised. As I said before, it's a fabulous piece of research, but it just builds on, I would argue logically, so much of what's preceded it. And certainly the more savvy investors around are not those that just look at a short-term movement here or there, but understand also the medium to longer term. And it won't surprise me at all that they are looking critically at what the value of a tonne of coal might be in 30 years' time, even though that's a long time away relative to what it might be today. And this report helps further inform their view of value.